this has been probably the coldest and wettest winter I can ever remember here in South Georgia. The rain gauge here has definitely been getting a workout over the last month or so. It's made some things challenging around the garden, but hopefully it's going to warm up soon and things will dry out a little bit and we can start getting some more stuff in the ground. Today I just want to take you around a tour of the homestead and show you what we've got going on in our different gardens, what we got planned for spring, and some new things we're trying. So this is the garden that we've been gardening in the longest on this piece of property. We've been gardening here for about 4 years now. And over those 4 years, we've been able to get a good accumulation of organic matter, reduce our weed seed bank so we don't have a lot of weed seeds in the ground. So really good, manageable plot, but like I said, this took about 4 years to get it that way. So right here we've got some ovation greens mix. So this is like a salad green mix. This got some red mustard, it's got arugula, kale, tot soy, and another green called Mizuna in it. One of our favorite greens mixes here. We planted these with the Hoss garden cedar on about a 30-inch bed, and we just squeezed in as many rows as we could. And considering all the rainfall we've had, these came up quite nicely for us, and we're excited. These, in a couple more weeks, these should be ready for their first harvest, and we can usually get about 3 harvests off a bed of these greens. So one of the positives of all the rain is that the onions are really loving it. We've got our 6 double rows of onions right here. We've got our 3 rows of the red onions right here, and then we've got our 3 rows of the Texas Legend yellow onions right here. The red ones seem to be growing a little faster than the Texas Legend does, but they're all doing really well. We've been keeping plenty of fertilizer to them, and they've been getting plenty of water from the rain. So beside our onions, we've planted 2 double rows of carrots recently. We got some multicolored carrots in there, some purple, some red, some orange, some yellow, and those will grow and should be ready to harvest probably late spring, early summer. Beside those carrots in this empty plot right here, we've got a lot of stuff growing in the greenhouse that we're going to plant. We've got some Brussels sprouts, some more kale, some broccoli, some lettuce, lots of early spring crops that we're going to plant right here as soon as they're ready in the greenhouse. So in some of our previous videos, we told you about our chicken tractor and how we're using this electric poultry netting. We planted clover here, and we're letting the chickens forage that clover and fertilize this ground. Within the next week or two, we'll probably pull the chickens off of here, go ahead and get all that manure and that clover tilled in, so we're ready to plant corn around the 1st of April. Here's our 5 double rows of carrots. We showed you in a previous video how we weed these guys. Unfortunately, due to all the moisture, we've got little weeds growing up in between these double rows. Nothing really we can do about that. We planted them about as intensively as we could have, just a product of all the rain we've had. But the carrots are doing good. If we reach down here and pull one, let's see. See, they're coming along quite nicely. Still a little bit of filling out to do there. But we're going to have a good crop of carrots in a few weeks, maybe a month or so. And then over here to the side of our carrots, this is where we'll be planting our potatoes this year. We're going to try to squeeze in about 4 rows of potatoes right here. We're just waiting to get our seed potatoes in the mail from Irish Eyes. And then hopefully this will be dried out by then. We can get this cultivated and get those potatoes planted. So expect a video on that coming soon. And then beside those radishes, we've got some elephant garlic here that's just starting to come up. We had some leftover cloves from last year. Garlic seed's pretty pricey, so we figured we'd go ahead and recycle those cloves, plant those. We'll have plenty to eat this year, and then hopefully recycle some more for next year's planting. And here's our plot that we planted most of our fall crops in. We showed you how we did that in a previous video. So this is a fairly new plot. It's only been going for 5 or 6 months now. So there's still a lot of work to be done in this plot to really get it like we want it. We need to add some organic matter, probably put a heavy application of compost on it to help it drain better. Still have some weed issues here because it is a new plot. From my experiences, it takes about 3 years to really kind of kill that weed seed bed and get that garden in good shape so you don't have to fight the weeds as much. And our Toscano kale still growing great. We've harvested this probably 5 or 6 times already. We just pull off these bottom leaves here when we harvest it, leave a few on the top, and these stalks just keep growing taller and taller. It's like the gift, it just keeps on giving, and we'll leave these here probably right until we decide to plant tomatoes and peppers in this plot. So very, very bountiful crop here, this Toscano kale. So this was our first year growing Brussels sprouts, and so we didn't really know what to expect. They actually turned out quite well. These guys have filled out well. We cropped the tops off of them so that the plant would devote more energy to the individual Brussels sprouts here instead of the leaves. These Brussels sprouts do take quite a bit of patience. They're one of the longer crops we've ever grown, but they're really, really tasty. We have really enjoyed them, and we're going to try to grow some more in spring. And this here is a completely new plot that we've got planned for spring directly beside that previous plot I showed you. We've only tilled this once, so the ground has just been broken. And what we'll probably do is we'll just till this once a week up until spring comes. That'll help, reduce that weed seed bed. That'll give those weeds time to germinate and then kill them off by cultivating it again, and hopefully get that soil nice and workable before we get ready to plant it. Our plans here are to plant squash in the spring, and then once those squash are done, we'll plant sweet potatoes in here, and those will grow throughout the fall. So we'll be planting some winter squash, like some delicata, some acorn squash, maybe even some summer squash here, and then in the fall we'll be growing sweet potatoes here. So pretty maintenance-free crops that we'll be growing in here on the first year of this plot until we get it nice and workable like we like it. So I hope you enjoyed that walk around the homestead, seeing all of our gardens, what we've got going on now and what we've got coming up. We do have to get us a new load of compost here. We're about out, so that should be coming soon so we can get some of those soils amended and ready for spring planting. If you have any questions about anything we're growing, anything we're planning on growing, anything that you're thinking about growing that you have questions about, just feel free to comment below, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you have.